Is Gabe Landeskog's return finally happening? This is your Denver Sports Daily for April 11th.
The biggest stories, the latest news. It's Denver Sports Daily.
Gabe Landeskog's return has been creeping closer and closer throughout the season, and now he's closer than ever. And obviously, if you've been watching anything in the news with Gabe Landeskog throughout this season, it's been kind of an up and down. People have been saying that, before the season, he could come back in December. And then later, it keeps getting pushed back. And then we hear things from the GM saying it's probably not going to happen at all. And then now it's as close as it's ever been. It was announced on Wednesday that Landeskog will be loaned to the Colorado Eagles in the AHL on a conditioning assignment. Now, this is a great opportunity for Landeskog to see the ice in a game time situation once again, and hopefully it will help him get ready for the upcoming playoff run. Now, he won't be fully ready. He won't be the Gabe Landeskog that we know and love, have come to know and love, especially back in that championship run in 2022. It won't be that same guy, and it never will. You age and you're coming off of an injury like this, it's never going to be the same. But getting him some time to see the ice in a game situation is the kind of thing that you need to actually, have that little bit of preparedness, get ready a little bit before the playoffs. So will he actually be able to play effective minutes in the playoffs if he does come back? Probably not. He'll most likely get a few minutes with the fourth line and not actually impact the game too heavily on the ice. But don't get it twisted. His effect on the locker room and the team, just being on the bench with them, that's massive. That will be there. That's the kind of thing that sparks a team. That gets them ready. You get your captain back. That's what you need. The way this team has been playing already this season, the Avs have been outstanding this season, especially this past month. Getting somebody like Landeskog back on the bench with them in the locker room, oh my gosh, that's going to do great things for this team. And it might be that little edge just to get them into the Stanley Cup. Once again, get them in there. They could go and win the Stanley Cup, and they could do that without Landeskog, honestly. But having Landeskog there just brings them so much more energy. And that's the kind of thing that will push this team from a contender to a favorite. Now, Landeskog expected to take the ice with the Eagles today, and tickets are already going for as little as $156. So if you want to see that game, get in now, because those tickets are just going to get more and more expensive. I can't wait to watch what he does. Hopefully he can go out there and play well. It's really just so exciting that we're finally getting to see him back on the ice with a team playing a real game once again. Now, moving on, the Avalanche suffered a tough loss at the hands of the Vancouver Canucks last night, losing 4-1. Unfortunately, the Avs were swept by the Canucks this season, losing all three of their matchups. Now, as the Avs near the end of their regular season, there's not much more movement that can happen for them, and in the standings, at least. And it seems like yesterday's game wasn't one that they really cared about. Devontae's was the only Av to score on a goal that came in the second period when they were already down 2-0. And then in the third period, the Canucks scored two more, one being an empty net to finish the game 4-1. It didn't really seem like they had the same drive that they've had all season. But again, rest, get your time. This is a perfect time to, kind of take some games off almost. You don't want to do that too much, but with the way the standings are, there's not really any movement that the Avs can have, at least in the standings again. But these games don't matter as much as others. Now, Mackenzie Blackwood still played at a high level, saving 26 shots while only allowing 3 through, recording a .897 save percentage. This guy is just insane. How many times can I talk about how much I love Mackenzie Blackwood, that trade, that acquisition this season? Again, I've said it since we got him. This is the kind of thing that wins you a Stanley Cup, a great goalie, and he's playing at a great high level. Now, after the loss, the Avs fell to 48, 28-4, but again, they're still locked in that third spot in the Central Division. They've clinched playoffs. They're locked in that spot. These are the kind of games that are throwaway games. They're not going to care too much about putting all this energy into it when it's not worth it. You don't want to risk anything going to the playoffs being this close. You definitely don't want to risk any injuries, getting tired. You don't want to do that. So, it's fair to lose games like this, especially the Canucks, who are a formidable opponent, at least against the Avs. They swept them this season. So, again, kind of a throwaway game, but still, heading towards the playoffs, you got to rest. You got to get your time and, start putting together wins when you can get them. You want to go in with a full head of steam. Coming off wins is always the most impactful thing that you can do. Now, moving on, it is a Nuggets game day. Tonight, the Nuggets are taking on the Memphis Grizzlies in their third and final matchup of the season. Whoever wins this game will win the season series. They both have one win so far, but it is so important tonight. These games are the most important games of the season. This is another must-win game for the Nuggets. It kind of reminds me of when we were talking about the Broncos just a couple months ago, heading in that last 4-game stretch. Every game was a must-win. The Nuggets cannot do what the Broncos did and get a win against, the Chiefs. The Broncos got that late win against the Chiefs to clinch a playoff spot for the first time in 10 years. The Nuggets can't risk that. This is a must-win. With the Western Conference so tight, they need to finish the season with wins tonight and in a couple days when they play the Rockets. They need to win both of those games. It's not debatable. They have to finish with 3 wins to end the season. That's all they did. They got their win 2 days ago, need a win tonight, and need a win in 2 more days. Now, the Grizzlies are coming into this game off of a 141-125 loss to the Timberwolves yesterday, so they are coming in off a back-to-back, while the Nuggets are coming in off a 124-116 win over the Sacramento Kings. So they got some steam. They're rolling. Now, this is the second game that new interim head coach David Adelman will coach, and he looks to extend his career record to 2-0. Nikola Jokic will have to finish the season with more MVP performances. If the Nuggets want to secure a good seed for the playoffs, he needs to continue doing what he's doing. I mean, he's averaging a 30-point triple-double, and don't even get me started how he probably won't win the MVP this season, because I've had enough of it. It's insane how this guy isn't the runaway MVP every single season. Honestly, he's already been robbed once by Joel Embiid. If he gets robbed again, I'll be in shambles, honestly. Now, last game, the Nuggets were able to break their 4-game losing streak despite the massive coaching change, and it seems like Jokic is locked in. He said after that game, they've awoken a beast in Denver. They've awoken a beast. There's something about this team right now. They are angry. They are locked in. Nikola Jokic's play in that game, that's the kind of stuff that Jokic needs to do. Honestly, when I talk about MVP seasons, MVP years, MVP performances, he's averaging a 30-point triple-double. He doesn't need to. 20 points, 11 rebounds, or 12 rebounds, 11 assists. That's what he needs. He also had 4 steals. That's the kind of thing that wins you a game. You don't need to go out there and put up 60 points, because we've seen before when Jokic is turned into the main scorer, it doesn't end up well for the Nuggets. He needs to be able to pass, set off-ball screens, continue to play at the level that he's played at, and continue to play his game. That's how the Nuggets are going to win tonight. They cannot risk a loss. Now, luckily, the Nuggets are heading into tonight's matchup as 6-point home favorites, and that game will tip off at 7 p.m. It's going to be a very interesting game. The Grizzlies are looking good. They're also a playoff team. The next 2 matchups the Nuggets have are against playoff teams. You got the Grizzlies, and you got the Rockets in a couple days. You need to win both of those. It's non-debatable. You got to win both of them. If you want a spot in the playoffs and not have to fall to the play-in, you have to get a win tonight at least. A win against the Rockets, we can talk about it then, because maybe standings will be different. Maybe it'll look different. Maybe the Nuggets can afford a loss and they'll fall a little bit. But right now, where they're at, it is far too close in this Western Conference to give up any wins right now. To lose a game right now would be terrible for the Nuggets. And that's what I was just talking about a couple days ago before Michael Malone and Calvin Booth were fired. If the Nuggets fall to the play-in, that's when you're going to see those firings. They chose to fire them before. They said, we're not risking it. We're going with Adelman. He's going to be our interim head coach, and hopefully he can scrap together a few wins and get them into a good seed for the playoffs. If they lose tonight, I'll be having a much different conversation with you guys on Monday. A much different and a much more upsetting conversation with you guys on Monday. But that's going to do it for your Denver Sports Daily. I will be back with you guys again on Monday, hopefully recapping a Nuggets win. We need this. We need a win tonight. If not, then it's going to be a sad, sad conversation that I'll be having with you guys come Monday. But until then, y'all have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. I will see you all then. Bye, y'all.